Hi, families. It's Susie McGaughey from the Cancer Support Community, one of the facilitators of Families Connect, and I'm here to offer you another opportunity to be creative with your family this summer. So today we're going to be creating with some simple materials. Hopefully you have some of them around the house, or you can easily pick them up at a craft store or even a hardware store or online. The things that you're going to need are some paint. So you could choose to use some watercolor paints, kind of like these, or some thicker paints that you have, like tempera or little bottles of craft paint, like this one, or acrylic paint would work. And even if you don't have paint, you can actually make paint if you have water, and even if you have dried out markers. So using a marker and a cup of water, you can dip your marker in, tip down into some water, and let it sit for a little while. This one has sat for a couple of hours. The longer it sits, the more vibrant your color will be. But you'll see, I can just take a paintbrush, dip into my marker paint, and use it on paper very much like regular watercolors. So if you want to get a variety of colors and place each marker, different color marker, in some water and let them sit for a while, you'll have a set of paints to use. In addition to paint, we're going to need some tape. This is special tape, though. This is called painter's tape. And again, you can get this at a craft store or at the hardware store even. Maybe you even have some in your basement from your last painting project in your house. This paint is good, or this tape is good, because it's meant to come off easily and comes easily off the paper that we're going to use today. So the last thing you need is paper. If you have some heavy paper, that's ideal. This is watercolor paper, so it's nice and thick. But if you have something called cardstock, that would work too, some thick paper. And if you don't have any of those things and you just have some regular drawing paper or computer paper, that will work as well. Okay, and that's it. So what are we going to do with all these materials? Well, I've been walking around my neighborhood and I see lots of signs in people's yards, and it's exciting to me. It's signs of messages of love and support for each other. I've seen signs thanking our doctors and our nurses for all of their hard work keeping us safe. I've seen signs congratulating high school students on graduating, and other signs in support of Black lives. I've also seen some signs that seem to really be focused on helping people to feel good and to feel better during difficult times. So these are signs that say things like, "We're all in this together," or "You are not alone," or "Don't give up." These are great messages for difficult times that we're going through, like the pandemic, but they're also great messages for difficult times that your family might be going through, dealing with cancer in your family. So I want you to think about, what message might you want to give to your community or to the world right now? What would be a great sign to put in your yard? Or maybe it's a message that you'd like to send to another family like yours that's also dealing with the difficulty of illness. What would you want to say to them to give them some love and support? You might want to think of just like a word. So it could be love or hope. Or maybe you want to give them some kind of fun message like, "There's more to life than Xbox." You decide what message you want to send. And then as a family, you can decide how you want to do this. Do you want to each do your own separate message, or do you want to work on a message as a family? If you've got a longer thing to say, maybe it's a phrase or a quote that you really like, each one of you could take one word of that quote or that phrase and create a sign for that word, and then put all of your signs together to send out one great positive message to the world. So you decide as a family how you want to do it. And then when you're ready with your message, you need to start with your tape and your paper to create your sign. So let me show you my sign that I created with tape. So this says, "One day at a time." And I borrowed this message from a sign that I saw in my neighbor's yard. And I really liked it because it helps me to slow down, to think about not getting too far ahead of myself, to really enjoy this day, and to take things one day at a time. So that's my message. And I created that simply by using tape and paint. So how are we going to do this? Let me show you. So like I said, you start with blank paper, and you're going to use your tape as your tool for drawing or writing. You can have a word message or you can have a design, a drawing as your message. It's totally up to you. My example though would be this word piece, right? And so I've already taken my tape and I've torn pieces off, and then I start tearing that into even smaller pieces to create my letters. If I wanted to add something to my word, maybe I want to add a peace sign, I'm going to do that up here just to show you kind of the process. So you're going to take small pieces and start tearing them and pressing them down on your paper to form your design. So it may feel difficult to do this without drawing first. So if that's the case, then help yourself out, and you can take a pencil and you can draw out what you want to make before you lay the tape down. But what I would encourage you to do is to keep your lines real nice and light so that you can just see them enough to guide you, but not so much that it's going to be difficult to erase them once you pull the tape off. So I'm going to use these as a guide now. And you also see, if you want to go around curves and make circles, it's a lot easier if you use smaller pieces, because that'll help you to make more curved lines. If you use a long piece, it's going to be pretty straight all around. Okay, so once I have my circle, I'm going to add the center. You see that this is not a perfect circle. There is no perfect when it comes to making art, in my opinion. And also, it's difficult to be perfect with lines when you are using torn tape. But I think that the torn tape and the imperfection adds a really nice kind of design element. Makes for kind of an interesting shape. So once you have your tape and your design all laid out, you want to take your hand and kind of press over the whole thing, making sure that tape is laying down nice and flat, because that will help for those letters to come out the way you want them to once it's finished. So you got your design, it's all taped down. Now you're going to go ahead and paint. The key to this project when it comes to paint is making sure that you are painting completely over your whole design. So I don't want to paint around the letters and leave space like I'm doing there with the P. I want to make sure that I paint all the way up to the tape. I can go over the tape. This would be an opportunity to just play around with colors, let the colors flow together, and just really focus on covering your whole design all around the tape, getting into the centers of those letters too, so that the whole design is painted over. Just let those colors flow. It can be nice and relaxing to paint with watercolors and water, and put on some chill music and really just let it flow, let it go. All right, so that's the idea. Hopefully you can see there that I have painted all around those letters, and I will do the same with the rest of this painting if I want to finish it. So let me show you a finished dried painting. So this is an example of not using words with the tape, but making the tape into a design. These are some waves down here. You see I pulled one piece off already, and now I'm going to show you how to do the rest. The hardest part of this project is practicing patience, waiting for that painting to dry, because it's so tempting to want to pull it off before it's dry to get the big reveal. You will be better served if you wait until it's completely dried, like this one, before you pull that tape off. So when you do pull off the tape, you want to go slow and carefully pulling off each little piece, especially if you're using computer paper like this is, which is kind of thin. If you go too fast, you can tear your paper. So I'm going slowly, taking off each little bit, and you can see what I created underneath, where the tape was. We now have a design, that white design. There we go. And here comes my wave. Slowly but surely. Bigger section that came off. That's always nice, as long as I'm going nice and slow. Careful not to rip the paper. Okay, and I'll do the same thing up here with the sunshine. So if you do a design like this, and you still want to have a message, you could take a Sharpie or a marker and write a message on top. What would be a great message for this one? Maybe enjoy the summer, or get outside, something like that. All right. And that's it. Once you have your sign, find a great spot for it. Perhaps you want to put it in your window so that people walking down the street can read your message, or stick it on a piece of cardboard and actually stake it down in your front yard. We at Cancer Support Community would love if you wanted to share your messages of love and support. You could take a picture of them and send them to Cancer Support Community, and then we'll post those messages on Facebook so that our other families and our other participants can also get your positive message. If you really enjoy working this way, I'll give you one other tip on how you can use some other materials to make messages. This would be creating a secret message. So instead of using the tape, you could use something like a white crayon, or this is actually a white oil pastel. And what's going to happen is if I use this to write or draw with, and then I paint over that, kind of like we painted over the tape, the watercolor, the crayon will resist that paint. It won't stick to it. And so your secret message will come out. So let me show you that real quick. So if now you want to, oh, it broke, but that's okay. That happens with crayons and pastels. You want to make sure that you are pressing down nice and hard as you're writing or drawing. And it can be difficult because you can't see it very well, but that's what helps it to be a secret message, because then when you deliver this to a person that it's intended for, maybe it's somebody in your family, you can instruct them to paint over it to get the secret message. So as you see, the paint will not stick to the places that I drew with that oil pastel. Now we have a heart. So enjoy creating messages, whether you're making signs or you're making secret messages for your family. And I hope that you will have some fun staying creative and playing around with your family. And we're going to end this video with a message that I have for you. It's no secret that we think you rock at the Cancer Support Community. We love you all. We miss you all. And I hope you stay safe and have a great summer and stay creative. See you next time. Bye.